Hi, second grade, Ms. Frybuckle here. Today you will need a pencil and a notebook or a piece of paper for our lesson. We're going to be talking about phrasing today. It can be helpful to read sentences in meaningful chunks in order for us to understand them. Phrasing is how we read fluently. Phrasing includes pausing at commas and stopping for a moment at periods. Practicing phrasing can help us understand better once we pause at commas and when we stop for a moment to continue reading after we see a period. All right, we have two informational texts today that we are going to practice our phrasing with. Remember, phrasing is reading things in smaller chunks. It's taking our time to read. It's pausing after commas and stopping for just a little bit after we see a period. All right, our first text is about popsicles. I'm going to model for you how to read using appropriate phrasing to help with your fluency. See if you can notice where I pause after commas and stop for a moment when I see a period. Do you like popsicles? Did you know they were invented by a kid? Not only were they invented by a kid, but it happened by accident. One night in 1905, an 11-year-old boy from California named Frank Epperson made a drink for himself by stirring some soda powder with a cup of water. Later, he left the drink outside and went to bed. With the stick still in the cup, the drink froze during the cold night. When Frank woke up, he had a frozen drink on a stick. Frank continued to make them for others and later started selling them. He called them Epsicles. Later, his own children changed the name to Popsicles. As you know, popsicles are still very popular today. The cherry popsicle, the most popular flavor, even has its own day. August 26th is National Cherry Popsicle Day. All right, did you notice how when I saw in the commas, I paused for just a moment, and when I had periods, I made sure to stop the sentence before continuing on to the next one. All right, you are going to practice a little bit of your phrasing and reading with our informational text on buzzing bees. You are going to read the first paragraph. I'm going to go ahead and highlight where there are periods and commas so you know where to pause and where to stop. Take your time reading. Go ahead and try that first paragraph. Pause the video. When you are done, I will reread it again, and you can see if your phrasing and fluency matched mine. Go ahead and pause the video, click play when you are ready. All right, well, let's go see and compare how your phrasing does with mine. We know that summer is almost here when we start to hear those buzzing bees. I see a period, so I'm going to go ahead and stop. Although many people are afraid of bees, comma, to pause, they are very important to have around, period. Without them, comma, we would not have honey and there would be less fruit and vegetable plants for us to eat. All right, next we're starting our next paragraph, which helps chunk our informational text. We have a comma here in the first sentence, a period, comma, and some more periods. Go ahead, pause the video, practice your phrasing, In this chunk, remember to pause after commas and stop after periods. Click play when you're ready to review. All right, I'm going to reread with the appropriate phrasing. In the warm weather, we see bees flying among flowers looking for food. They are collecting nectar and spreading pollen. Nectar is a sweet, sticky liquid that bees use to make honey. Pollen is a powder made by some plants. As bees carry pollen from one flower to another, seeds begin to grow. This is called pollination. When a bee finds nectar or pollen, it does a dance for the other bees to let them know where to find the food. All right, and so in this chunk, when we read a little bit slower, pausing at the commas and stopping after the periods, it also helps us understand when we're reading. All right, in our last chunk, I want you to try to read it with the appropriate phrasing without me highlighting any of the commas or periods. Go ahead, pause the video, try practicing, and click play when you're ready to hear the example. All right, let's go ahead and listen for the appropriate phrasing. As for those stinging bees, only female bees have stingers. They usually sting when they are trying to protect themselves or their hive. The most common bee, the honeybee, dies soon after stinging. That is because the stinger, which is attached to the bee's abdomen, gets pulled out of the bee's body after getting stuck in the victim's skin. All right, remember, anytime that you are working on your phrasing and fluency when reading, it's important to take things in chunks, so maybe going paragraph by paragraph. It's important to pause after commas and to stop after periods before continuing on with reading. All this will help us understand what we are reading. All right, I will see you soon. Great job today.